What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets powered by FTN right here on Game Plus Network. Also live on our FTN Network YouTube page, iTunes, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to your favorite podcasts. We are ready to go here on this show. There's a lot to get to. There's some news that's breaking in the NFL. I want to show you guys the running back projections over at FTNFantasy.com. We're going to dig deep. We're not just going to show you the top 12. We're going to show you the top at least 36 or so. Can dig a little bit deeper. Any starter sit questions, by all means, leave them here in the YouTube section, the comment section. I'll try to address them on this show with you guys. If you're hanging out live, ask that question. Smash that like button. If you're watching on Game Plus Network, you guys know the drill. Hop on over to our FTN Network YouTube page. Leave the question there. Always circling back. Of course, you can reach out at Chris Meaney as well. Projections tools, they are live. Rankings, everything live over at FTNFantasy.com. There's a lot of just craziness in the NFL when it comes to weather this week. I saw a report earlier in the week that the Bears and Bills game could be the coldest game in NFL history. What? 18 inches of snow potentially in Chicago. It just can't get away from it. Just follows Buffalo. You know, it's in Buffalo. They go. It's just everywhere. Wasn't a game in Cleveland a couple weeks ago? I forget now what the game, and they had to go play in Detroit. Like, it just seems that the Bills, like every game, every other week over the past couple of years, has been weather-filled games. The game in Cleveland, I think, is probably going to be the nastiest of the few. I think there are 5 that we have to keep an eye on. And in Cleveland, I've been to the Dog Pound. I've been to First Energy Center. It is, it's a great place to go watch a football game. I went twice. The Mooney Lot is fantastic. Great tailgate, fun atmosphere. You know, the Browns fans have been through a lot over the years. When you go to a Cleveland game, they just kind of let loose, and I love it. I'm all about that. And because of all the losses, you know, the past couple of years, there's been, you know, some wins, so they're feeling on top of the world. It's a fun atmosphere. When you go, you will see probably like 15 to 20 different quarterback t-shirts and jerseys because, of course, they have gone through a lot. But saying all this to say that by the stadium, by the lake, it is cold, it is windy, it is nasty, and it sounds like we are going to be in for a lot of rain, like sleet, snow, freezing rain, wind. Not ideal, to the point where, you know, if you're a Amari Cooper owner, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Chris Olave, like these are guys that I don't know if you'll want to start. We'll have to keep an eye on Nick Chubb. Is Nick Chubb going to play in that game? Dearness Johnson becomes a little bit interesting. Maybe pick him up now if you can. Just like drop somebody that's not going to sniff your roster. He's not even an automatic play if Chubb doesn't start. You know, we could see Kareem Hunt. I would rank Kareem Hunt over Dearness Johnson, but we have seen Dearness Johnson in this role before and look pretty good in the role, stepping in for Nick Chubb as the lead running back, and maybe Kareem Hunt, a few more carries on the ground, and then he gets tossed, you know, a couple targets as well. But we'll keep an eye on all of that. Tomorrow's going to be a big day as well on this show. But like I said, we're going to roll through some running back projections, give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. Hopefully everybody got what they needed, you know, on their waiver wires and things like that. I see some people hanging out in the show. We will address any questions, as I mentioned, as you guys have. So, yeah, we'll get to all this stuff in a second. I want to say hi to everybody here. Kyle Woods, Deesh, Daily Handle, Brett Thunderstruck. You guys, the support on the show has been fantastic, and I want to ride with you guys to a championship. So hopefully we can get that done. I see that Deesh said off the top he was blocked on Minshew, so he has Darnold and Wilson, praying Lamar at least comes back. Hurts is a long shot. I blocked an opponent this morning who had Jalen Hurts. I got a few shares of Gardner Minshew. I have a lot of Hurts, but I had to block somebody this morning, and he didn't seem too happy about it. But listen, I don't even think he put in a claim. He had a bunch of money. I thought maybe he thought he was just going to wake up this morning and grab Minshew. As a Fields owner, I'm going to start Fields over him unless the weather is super crazy. But he didn't have a quarterback. So it's like, you're not getting Minshew. I only had a couple bucks too. I'm surprised he didn't go all out to maybe get him, and interested to see what he's going to do as well. Good morning, everybody. That's the biggest news. Colts starting Nick Foles over Matt Ryan. That's the biggest one. I don't think we were starting Matt Ryan. We liked Matt Ryan last week in what was a good spot, but interesting. Nick Foles, what does it mean for Michael Pittman? What does it mean for this offense against the Chargers and 2 running backs as well, which, Zach Moss and Jackson, one of the two of the most rostered or picked up guys here this morning. There's a lot to get to. Yesterday was a fantastic night in the NHL. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but we were perfect on this show yesterday with all of our picks in the NHL. My free hockey article at ftnbets.com on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Look for it every single Tuesday and Thursday. Those are busy slates in the NHL, so I choose those days. I usually give 3 picks and a couple of bonus picks, but 'tis the season for giving. We went 9 for 10 yesterday on that article. We had a lot of plus money plays. We had a fun same game parlay with the Kings. We had to sweat that one out. Plus 170 for Fiala, Kopitar, and Kempe to all hit the score sheet. We talked about it on Daily Bets with Dane Martinez as well. Daily Bets with Dane Martinez is a pretty fun show. It's fast-paced, 15 to 20 minutes. Comes out to you 5 days a week at 2 Eastern, and he has a rotation of guests, and he touches on all sports. It's a really good show. We have a lot going on in our FTN Network YouTube page and a lot of exciting things happening in the new year as well. Speaking of exciting things, the Fantasy Baseball Draft Guide launched last night at midnight. Vlad Sedler put a lot of work into this. Vlad is super, super sharp. RotoGut, you guys, I'm sure, are well aware of Vlad Sedler. I know we're heavy into fantasy football playoff time, and hockey's in full swing, and NBA, which we will visit more on this show when we say goodbye to the NFL. But Vlad has put a lot of work into this. We have a lot of outside guests, featured guests. Alex Fast, one of the GOATs in the industry as well. A lot of high stakes, a lot of successful high stakes players. Phil Dussault has had a lot of success as well. And we have a lot of featured guests in this draft guide. And my goodness, it is very, very detailed, and it's December 21st. Like, we're a few months away from baseball even like getting underway, but you can never it's never too early, really, to start doing your prep, maybe over the holiday season, maybe a gift for somebody that you wanted to, because as the 12 days of Christmas continue to roll on, we do have the early bird deal fantasy baseball package, $44.99, 12 days of Christmas. I have my handprints in this fantasy baseball package as well. The last year I did old faces and new places, and I did the same thing. And I'll tell you what, it took me a long time. I may have missed the deadline. I was telling Vlad that I have that in on Sunday. I was scrambling. And of course, last night, once you're officially all done everything, and it's like, all right, you're looking it over 1,000 times, and you're trying to see if the value has changed with some of these players, because there are a lot of players. And I want to show you guys again. I know you're well aware, but towards the end of the show, for the baseball fans, hang on towards the end, and we'll show a couple of just where dudes change places and where they're switched jerseys. But once you think it's all done, then they throw a curveball at you. I was up super late last night. There was no need for me to be up until 4 a.m, but the hockey went so well. I was on such a high with how yesterday went. I'm seeing green screens. Nothing makes me more happy than to see people have success with some of the picks. So it really does make me happy. I'm here for you guys to try to help you. I know you're all super sharp. You can make your own picks, make your own fantasy football decisions all you want. I just want to help maybe guide and just have a friendly conversation and a distraction in the craziness that is the world, and win a few bucks on the side. So I was on a super high last night with how yesterday went, and I'm laying in bed. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm on social media. I'm looking at the NHL slate. I'm trying to find some picks. I'm like putting all my last minute claims in, set my lineups, doing all kinds of craziness. And then before I go to bed, I see Carlos Correa signed with the New York Mets. What? I thought he was signing with the San Francisco Giants. My only assumption yesterday with the report that he failed a physical was that he had cold feet. That's it. I think he had cold feet. And I don't blame him for this decision. Like, San Fran is nice. You know, you're in Cali. The weather is great. The Giants are doing things. It seems like every 3 years, the Giants make a bit of a run and a playoff run. And they spent a lot of money as well in the offseason. But when you have a chance to go to New York, I get it. It's the Yankees. Everyone else, Yankees. But the Mets, man, the Mets have made some moves. They're spending money. Now you put Carlos Correa in that lineup with Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil's got a good bat. You got Starling Marte there. You got Nimmo atop the order. You bring in the Cy Young winner from last year and Justin Verlander. I know he's 39. You got Max Scherzer, 38, former teammates of Detroit, now back together in New York. It's a good 1-2 punch atop the rotation. You got Kota Senga there as well, who they brought over from Japan. Maybe could be a better real-life pitcher than a fantasy pitcher, but all of a sudden you put him in the rotation as well. There's a lot to like about this Mets squad, but my goodness, they are just spending money left, right, and center. $315 million. He kind of left a little bit off the table. And I thought it was 11 years, to be honest, but we can fact check that in the break. But nonetheless, it's a double-digit year contract. He's going to be playing until he's into age 40, just like all the other contracts that were shipped to shortstops, right? I mean, Trey Turner, double-digit years. Xander Bogaerts, double-digit years. These guys are going to have to wheel out wheelchairs for them to play in their final year. But Mets making things happen. And I guess Carlos Correa, for you fantasy baseball peeps out there, I guess he's going to play third base. Lindor is playing short, I'll tell you that. So we may get Carlos Correa with a little third base eligibility for fantasy baseball. I was long-winded, 11 minutes in, wanted to take a break much earlier than that. Going to keep the balance of the show. We'll take a break. We'll say hello to all the people in the house. We'll answer some questions. We'll show you running back projections. We have NHL picks and props. We got a lot to get to here on Mean Streets. Keep her locked.
At DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bet on nearly any sport imaginable. The NFL, the NBA, college football, college basketball, golf, the NHL, tennis, Major League Baseball, MMA, and more. Download the DK Sportsbook app on iOS and Android operating systems, as well as on your desktops or in mobile browsers. Get the best bonuses using promo code FTN. Remember, the only way to gamble responsibly is to win. PrizePicks is a creative new way to parlay picks based on expected fantasy point production and single stat projections. You pick 2 to 5 players and predict if they'll go over or under their projected fantasy point total or their single stat total. When parlaying the players, the larger your parlay, the better the payout. A 2-pick entry pays 3x. A 3-pick entry pays 5x. A 4-pick entry pays 10x. As a bonus offer, there's a flex play option. This provides an added level of security on your entry where you can decrease your multiplier received if you miss one of your entries, but hit on all the others. At FTN, we have PrizePicks coverage for every sport in both article and standalone pick format on our PrizePicks pick tracker. Use promo code FTN for a 100% deposit match on your first deposit of up to $100.
Welcome back in. Chris Meaney here with you guys, live on our FTN Network YouTube page, Game Plus Network, Mean Streets here, powered by FTN. So looked in the break. Lee is all over it as well. It was 12 years, not 13 for Mr. Carlos Correa. Yeah, Giants were afraid of previous mystery injury. You know, I think that could be part of it. I also feel like he did have cold feet. I think he had a little cold feet syndrome, and he just decided to, if I were him, I would pick the Mets. I would pick the Mets over the Giants. I would. I know you're a West Coast guy. I could buy the Sharks and stuff. I don't know, Lee, if you're a Giants fan, what's your take on what's your thoughts on all that as well? But listen, 12 years for a guy in Carlos Correa who doesn't have a lot of full seasons on his MLB resume. He's dealt with numerous injuries. I know the past couple of years he's played a lot, and he's had the playing time has been there. Has been 500 plus plate appearances, but he doesn't have a lot of full seasons on his MLB resume. Doesn't really have a ton of power. He's never hit over 26 homers. It's not a great ballpark in San Fran for him. It's not really a great ballpark for him either in New York. I do like what he brings to the table. I know from a fantasy standpoint, I'm not crazy about him because of the power, and also he provides no speed. But man, craziness last night. That broke pretty late and was pretty shocking, I think, to most people waking up this morning. Yeah, 3 a.m. Yeah, 4 my time. I'm on the craziness of Atlantic time zone. It's a made up time zone, daily handle. 4 a.m. for me. Okay, so let's get through some of this stuff here today. Some questions. Tyler, you can just chuck them up if you want. Brett threw the breaking news to us on the Colts thing. We can get on in a little bit. Beowulf for golf. Goff got GM on waivers. Okay, you got Gardner on waivers, and Goff just dropped. Want to grab him too. Are we safe-ish to drop founding father, aka Alexander Madison? Yeah, the minute that you drop him, Cook goes down, and it's like, oh my goodness. But if that happens, week 16, you're hopefully only battling with one other league mate. We talked yesterday about the etiquette of fantasy and how your league should run, and teams that are out of it should be locked. And if there's prizes for consolation, let them pick them up now after waivers run. I would play Beowulf. I really would. There's something about him. We talked about it yesterday. We haven't seen him in quite some time, and it's tough to take the game against the Jets seriously because it was the Jets, and the defense was not as good as it is right now. In that game, there was no AJ Brown, and he utilized Dallas Goedert, who's expected back this week. I think he can go in there and do enough. I'd lean him. I want to share a lot of projections with you guys, and we're going to share running backs, and maybe in a little bit, Tyler, let's kind of save that. But I will just share what we have, over at FTN Fantasy and just kind of give you some of the numbers. Me personally, I do have Beowulf just a couple spots ahead of Goff. I keep calling him Golf. What is going on? I have him a couple spots ahead of Goff because of the splits. It's a real thing. It's a better matchup than last week against the Jets. You still have to go up against a lockdown corner in JC Horn. Let's see. Let's give you a little bit of a sneak peek of our projections. Yeah, I mean, we have Goff. Wow, we have them. I've never seen this before. These guys are tied. Is that going to help you, Kyle Woods? I think it's going to help you one bit. Jared Goff, 15.7 fantasy points. We have him for 248 passing yards. We have him for 1.5 touchdowns. We don't have him for any rushing ability. Minshew actually has a little bit of sneakiness to him. I mean, he could run for 10 or 15 rushing yards. That's possible. We have him for the same projection at 15.7. We have him for fewer passing yards at 220, the same amount of touchdowns, and just a little bit more on the ground, 15.1 rushing yards for Gardner Minshew. I think everyone's going to step up. Again, I said it yesterday. I don't want to get too much into it, because it does kind of come across as a little bit of a homer because of the Eagles thing, the Eagles in the background there. But big game. Dallas secondary is banged up, right? It's not just, we're not just spitting nonsense here. The secondary has been bad over the past couple of weeks, and they're depleted right now. The offensive line of Philly is good. You got two alphas and AJ and Devontae to lean on, and then you got Dallas Goedert coming back. So it's indoors in a dome. We have a large sample size of Jared Goff and his splits, just a couple touchdowns outside of a dome. I think two all season long. So I do lean Beowulf. My goodness, right? This is what it's come to. And this is what happens in fantasy all the time, every year, right? Justin Jackson was a league winner for people last year. Of course, Rashad Benny came on strong, but Rex Burkhead, Jackson, now we're talking about starting these like quarterbacks you'd never think about starting. Like, I don't think anybody would have predicted that. Minshew and Goff come week 16. Like, what are you doing? Hopefully it works out for you. I lean Minshew, and stop calling him Golf. What else do we have? Any other questions? That's rough, Deesh. You could roll the dice on Foles. He might have to throw a lot to keep up with. Yeah, that's so what happened here with Deesh? You got blocked from Minshew. You got Darnold and Wilson. I mean, I wouldn't start Zach. It's possible you get Lamar back. Sam Darnold, I guess, that's an option. I can't imagine where we have him projected. I am ranked pretty low, but higher than normal, I do believe, because of the matchup. Yeah, not great. Yeah, it stinks. Number one seed, most points. Got to deal with it. Foles, Pickett, McCoy, Willis, Ritter, a bake show, all there. Got to find, yeah, got to find the shiniest turd. He says, my goodness. Let's see. Out of all those guys, do we have the matchups? Can we bring up the matchups as well, Tyler, with the question and kind of roll through what I would do? I mean, I don't think you can roll out. Yeah, Tannehill's got an uphill battle. Tannehill's got an uphill battle to play this week. I don't know if he's going to suit up. Zach Wilson is, it's Zach Wilson and it's potential bad weather in that Thursday night game tomorrow. We can dive deeper into that once, another day of, the forecast and dive into those things. Pickett does sound like he is going to return. And what is a good spot against the Raiders? I kind of lean him out of these options. Willis has got a little bit of a rushing floor, but it's going to be a whole lot of Derrick Henry. I mentioned yesterday, Derrick Henry, how I thought he had 4 200-yard games over the past couple years. It's 4 straight 200-yard games for Derrick Henry against the Houston Texans. This is going to be the Henry show. Ritter against Baltimore in Baltimore. It's not ideal either. Baker against the Broncos. I don't like either of those matchups. And I'm not crazy about Nick Foles either. I suppose if I rank these guys, I would go Pickett, then Foles. I don't even think McCoy's going to play. I think that guy is out, and we may get McSorley under center for Arizona. I know that I have in Jake's Superflex League, my second quarterback was Kyler, and I have McCoy. I don't expect to that McCoy's going to play. I'm looking at like a running back. I have Dalton too, but the weather is going to be atrocious in Cleveland. I'm not starting him. So I would lean Pickett there, probably Deesh. A little bit of a rushing floor. He's up against the Raiders. The Raiders secondary has been very, very bad this year. They've been friendly to quarterbacks. You have some weapons on the outside. Deontay's been a volume target guy, and Pat Freiermuth. I'm rooting for you, dude. I'm rooting for you. It's tough that you like you said, you've cruised all year with Lamar and Jalen, and you're just facing a little bit of adversity here. That's all. A little bit of adversity. I lean Pickett then Foles. We don't have any projections for Foles, but we did have Matt Ryan at 15.4, kind of lumped in with Goff and Minshew there. Sam Darnold's at 17.7. It's not bad. Who does Carolina have again? I thought that they had I thought that they were in a decent. Yeah, it's Detroit, right? I still think I would go with. I still think I would definitely go Minshew, and I would go Pickett. I think I would go Pickett and Foles over Sam. I just don't trust him. Like, what are we hoping for? A touchdown to DJ Moore. That's kind of it. What else do we have? In a one league, I was able to pick up DJ Moore, so I'm starting over Amari Cooper of Detroit. Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think it's a good call. Good game from him last week. And this is a really good question as well. And a debate that we had on All in Football with Jake. Brett, I think maybe you hung out there. Man, you don't want to overthink things. And Cooper's been a really good wide receiver this season. But the way that game is shaping up in Cleveland with the weather, I think I got to play Goodwin. Some of these fringe wide receivers like Marquise Goodwin, Chris Moore, Darius Slayton in a good spot against the Vikings. I think I'm playing these guys over like Cooper, maybe even Brendan Ayuk against Washington, Donovan Peoples-Jones. We've talked a lot about, but I don't think we can play these guys. It's going to be tough. Hopefully, this decision doesn't come back to bite you and starting a guy and sitting a guy like Cooper for a guy Marquise Goodwin, but it's KC. The weather there is something to keep an eye on as well, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be as crazy in Cleveland. No Tyler Lockett. The Chiefs are really good offensively. They're going to score points. Goodwin has had some moments over the past couple of weeks. Gino's been very accurate. I lean Goodwin, man. I really do lean Goodwin. You're going to have a couple days to be able to kind of sort this out. And really, as we get closer to kickoff, to dive into the weather, because I think there's at least 4 or 5 weather games that could be big time factors this weekend as well. Okay. What else do we have here? We'll do a couple more and then we'll break and then we'll get into the others. If you tell me that's it, that's it. Yes. Oh, you gotta go to Fab. Yeah, it's unfortunate so Deesh is saying, for those that are listening on iTunes and Spotify, he says he's upset because his league is waiver priority and he proposed Fab and missed getting enough votes to switch the last 2 years. Some people don't like Fab. We've had this conversation in one of my leagues that's been going on for 10 years, and the commissioner said he would quit. He would just quit if we went to Fab. And a few of us were like, fine, see you later. Jokes aside, we don't want him to leave. I just think it's fair for everybody. I really do. There's something to be said about holding on to that number one claim. It worked out for me this week in that league, actually, where I was able to pick up Zach Moss. But I just think it's the fairest way to do it. I think you want everybody on the same playing field. You have Fab. It's fun. It's like an auction too. I really like it. Some people are super aggressive early. Other people are waiting all year for their money, and that doesn't carry over. You want to spend that. I just feel like it puts everybody on the same playing field. Everyone is able to get whoever they want, and it makes it a whole lot funner than waiver wire priority. So maybe a revote Deesh in the offseason. Hopefully things work your way. Is there another question that we can get to? One more, and then we will break. Trevor Lawrence on Thursday, or Purdy, Carr, or Minshew? Yeah, this is another big one too, and it is really tough. I have Trevor Lawrence ranked as quarterback 13, but I do have him ahead of the rest of those guys. Purdy's looked pretty good, but this isn't a great spot against Washington. Washington's defense has been really good. They get some pressure on the quarterback. I still think Purdy could maybe toss a touchdown and kind of live in that 15 to 16 fantasy point range. Derek Carr on the road. Steelers defense much better. It's going to be pretty chilly in Pitt as well. And then Minshew against the Eagles. This is tough, Chris. I think I'm going Trevor Lawrence and what I've seen from him. But also, I will hammer home the point again. Tomorrow is a big day. Weather-wise, we're going to want to see what it looks like leading up to kickoff. I just want to share what I have for you. We actually have Trevor Lawrence in 15.9. We have Kenny Pickett with more projected points than Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to confuse Chris, but just to go back to what Deesh is saying there. Pickett, out of the guys that you mentioned, we do have Lawrence projected for more fantasy points, 20.9. We have him 229 passing yards and a touchdown. Of course, he's also very sneaky on the ground as well. I think I would go Lawrence there, Chris. I think I would go Lawrence. Check back in tomorrow. Maybe check the weather tomorrow, and then you can make your final decision there, depending on it. It's also not a great matchup, too. Let's be honest, with the Jets. But Trevor Lawrence has looked really good, and there's no denying how great he's played over the past couple of weeks. With Zay Jones being an elf, I know a lot of people have questions about Zay Jones too, and I know I play Zay Jones over some of the. It feels a little bit different to me as opposed to Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones in that game, or Chris Olave. Like, I don't think I'm playing Chris Olave. And I wouldn't be shocked if Chris Olave is inactive. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. He only played 27 snaps last week. He didn't practice. I know that the Saints didn't practice on Monday, but there were reports at the Saints camp that he wouldn't have practiced if the team practiced. Hamstring mixed with cold weather, sloppiness, and also just a downtick in general in what we've seen. So, some of these guys are very, very questionable to kind of roll out. But Zay Jones at least has shown us a lot over the past couple of weeks. Like 3 of the last 4 have been solid wide receiver 1 weeks from him. So I don't think he's going to see sauce. May see a little bit of sauce in there, but it could also be Marvin Jones. And I just really like what I've seen, so I'd roll him out. But anyways, to show the projections of the quarterback position after the first few, Daniel Jones is ranked as a top 10 guy for us because of the matchup against the Vikings, a little bit of a rushing floor, not a lot of options to throw the football to, but I think Slayton is interesting. Maybe you get a touchdown from Hodgins or Richie James. Geno, Brady, Rodgers. I think Rodgers we touched on yesterday. At least you don't have to worry about cold weather. It's going to be warm in Miami. Sun's going to be blazing on that visiting bench like it always is. But this guy kind of got his weapons all healthy for the first time all year. Dobbs and Watson and Lazard in there as well. After Rodgers is Pickett, we do have Brett Hundley in there. Not really feeling Brett Hundley. Of course, if Lamar is active, he's going to be much higher projected than Brett Hundley. Then Lawrence, then Goff, then Minshew, then Purdy. So it's all really close. You are playing some matchups there. Taysom Hill season. I don't know. He did have a nice touchdown pass last week, Taysom Hill. I mean, he could run a lot if that game is run heavy. Maybe you start him as a tight end this week, but I wouldn't be starting. I don't think you can start him as a quarterback. I think he's just tight end only now. We'll take a quick break. We'll get to the rest of the questions. I want to show you guys running back projections as well. Keep your lock. Lots more to get to here on Mean Streets on Game Plus Network. Welcome back in. I see a lot of questions, and we will get to them here, guys. We're going to roll through some of this stuff. I want to show you the running back projections, and then we can dive into the rest here, and maybe this will help some of your decisions as well. Our projections are on point. Honestly, they really are. I've been using them for me to kind of help with some of my starter sit stuff. We have starter sit tools as well, a part of the FTN fantasy package. And also just like Ratcliffe was the number one ranker, man. His projections are certainly on point. I use a lot of them kind of more so from a betting standpoint. All these guys you're starting, so I don't think we really need to spend too much time. But if you had any questions about Alvin, I know somebody asked me yesterday, is it crazy to start Brian Robinson or Jeff Wilson if he plays over Alvin Kamara? And I don't think it's crazy. Brian Robinson has got a lot of work, a lot of carries, looked really good. I don't love the matchup, though, against the Niners. And I really do like this spot for Alvin Kamara against Cleveland. And we talked about the weather. It's certainly risky, but it's probably going to be a lot of running. And, again, it does go back to the matchup. Of course, you'll pull your hair out when David Johnson gets a couple carries and you're like, Dennis Allen, what the heck are you doing, sir? Give the ball to Alvin Kamara. But I think you play him. Let's dig deeper here. Let's dig a little bit deeper. So Jerick McKinnon's ranked pretty high. And I think it's fair. I do have him ahead of Pacheco. I think Pacheco's a capable starting running back. I know that the game got out of hand not out of hand, but it was a competitive game. If the Chiefs find a way to get up, then maybe we see a little bit more of, Pacheco running the rock. But really what we've seen from Jerick McKinnon over the past couple of weeks, and I know Mecole Hardman could come back, but this guy is the third option in the passing game in a pass-happy offense, and a really good one. Travis Kelce, Juju, and then Jerick McKinnon. Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Latavius Murray. I know it feels gross, but Latavius Murray has been, he's been getting a lot of the work, and it's really tough to ignore 20-plus touches. The Rams are kind of checked out, right, defensively. We saw a lot of success from A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones last week. And even the week before, I believe the Rams got ran all over. So 24 carries for Latavius Murray. He did have a touchdown. He had 130 rushing yards. You do have the threat of Marlon Mack. That is right. Ratcliffe's boy, Marlon Mack, to get a couple touches and things like that out of the backfield. But The lead, I do believe it is Latin Murray, Miles Sanders, Zeke. I think there was a Fournette question. I think I saw that in the commercial break. Leonard Fournette versus who was it? It was Leonard Fournette versus I'm trying to find it. I can't really find it right now, but we do have Fournette ranked high. There it is. It was AJ, Mr. Roper in the house. Really like what I've seen from AJ over the past couple weeks. I, I I I feel awful because I was so big on AJ heading in that I know some people have AJ Dillon, hopefully, and I saw the tweets and the remarks, the snarred remarks. I saw it all like, oh, AJ Dillon's gonna win all those people consolation brackets. Hopefully you were able to find replacements when the rough patches were there, and over the past couple weeks has been pretty good, right? 50 fantasy points over his last 2 games. I think 3 games he's got touchdowns. I think 4 over that span. He's got at least 3 catches in each game. He's out of concussion protocol. I do like AJ Dillon, but what I saw from Leonard Fournette last week, he kind of acted as the lead again. Goal line work, a couple catches. And I really loved the spot against Arizona. We talked about Latavius Murray last week. Latavius Murray, 130 rushing yards, 24 carries. Who did he do it against? The Arizona Cardinals. So Tampa here. I know the Bucks offense has been a mess. They're still fighting for a playoff spot. It looks like they're going to get in and host. But I would take Fournette. It's a crowded backfield. Both teams crowded backfields. But I would take Lenny. I would take Lenny because they're touchdown favorites. And I believe that's in Zona, right? In a dome. And I'm going to worry about weather. I know we don't have to worry about with AJ, but I would start Lenny, especially if you're in a full point PPR league there, Mr. Roper. Maybe he catches a couple passes for you. You're hoping that he has a couple red zone rushing attempts, and he scores a touchdown. That's where I'm at. And I think that's why we have Fournette ranked, projected as high as we do. Can we go back to that? We can go back to that board. Tyler, have you seen any other running back questions too? By all means, like you can chuck them up. We'll get rid of that one so we can see Mostert and then Montgomery and then Pacheco. Khalil Herbert, potentially back this week. Don't start that guy. Don't start him. Buffalo, bad weather. I still think I would play Montgomery, even if it was potentially bad weather. One thing that you can do is run on the Bills. Saw Mostert run really nice against Buffalo. Yeah, I kind of view him a little bit lower than this. Maybe I would lean with Pacheco if the weather was really, really bad. I think we have a third page of running backs that we can dig a little bit deeper here. Yeah, now we're getting into maybe some fringe starts. I'm playing Akers and Dobbins and Singletary over Swift. I just and I still view Jamal as a guy that would play over DeAndre Swift. I think that the ceilings are similar given the opportunities that Jamal gets inside the red zone. Now, Dan Campbell has confused the hell out of us over the past couple of weeks with Justin Jackson and all of these guys getting some run. Better weather in Carolina. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that bad. It's one of the games we know about Goff, but Jamal Williams, I have ranked ahead of Swift because of the red zone stuff. And then I have Swift not too far behind. Zach Moss, I have higher than this. Zach Moss, I would play over Zonovan Knight. I would play over Jamal Williams. I would play over Rashad White. And I'm kind of leaning over Cam Akers as well, but I probably go with Cam Akers is what I've seen from him over the past couple weeks. And I don't expect Baker Mayfield to have a lot of success passing the football against the Broncos. But Zay Jones, or Zach Moss rather, he had 8 red zone carries to Jackson's 3. It's a really good spot. Jake likes Jackson more than Zach Moss. And I mean, it's hard to argue with Sealy. He's been one of the best rankers in the game for years. I just feel like he's the lead. That's enough for me. Like, he's the lead, and I get that they were up last week against the Vikings, but I don't know. He seemed like he ran pretty nice, and guess what? He's got a matchup this week against the Chargers. The Chargers can't stop the run. Are you kidding me? They can't stop the run. Maybe St. Nick can bring out the old magic from his Philly days, and he can toss a couple tutties to Michael Pittman. Maybe he hooks up with Alec Pierce. Maybe it's a fun fantasy game, but I'm going to lean with Zach Moss. We have him for 12.2 rushing attempts. I think he gets more than that. I think he gets 15 plus, even with Carter. I keep calling Carter, even with Jackson there. Out of the backfield there for the Colts, right? That's the way that I lean. A couple maybe catches for Deion Jackson. Like, that is possible. I would view him as maybe a flex play in a full point PPR league. He did get 13 carries. Like, he is going to get some run on the ground. catch more passes than Zach Moss, but I lean Zach Moss. I'm not starting Deontay Foreman. There's no way in heck I'm starting this guy. I can't do it. I can't. And also the Lions' rush defense, we talked about this last week, has been very, very good. It's been very good over the past couple of weeks. And some of the numbers now that you saw like 3-4 weeks ago as being a top 5 fantasy option of running backs and, 5.1 yards per carry inside the top 5. They've been absolutely amazing to running backs. They've given up now the 8th fewest fantasy points to backs. Deontay Foreman had 10 carries for 9 yards last week. I don't expect him to have much success running the football. And we've seen a little bit of Chuba Hubbard. So I view Chuba Hubbard as a better play than Deontay Foreman. Of course, they're really close in our projections. 14 carries to 9 carries. But as you see, a little bit more work in the receiving game for Hubbard. And that's why I lean him over Foreman. I still think you play Brian Robinson Jr., even though it is against San Fran and they don't give up a whole lot. I wouldn't be shocked if Gibson would be on the 4th page if we had one here. Gibson is like right after Cordero Patterson. Gibson can catch a couple passes, but I do believe Brian Robinson Jr. will still get like 12 to 13 plus carries. We got him for 14.5. That's probably a floor. It's not an ideal spot, but I would play him there. We're going to break and we're going to get into the rest of the questions. I know we've gone a little bit long in that block. So break and then we'll hammer home the rest. Just want to show you guys the running backs. Tomorrow we'll do wide receivers and I'll also present quarterbacks to you guys too. So give you a little bit of a sneak peek. And also I will share which way I would lean with some of these questions. So hang tight, back in 2 minutes. Welcome back in. Let's get to some of these questions. I see a lot kind of filtering in. I don't know. Does that make sense? I see a lot. I see a lot of these questions. Naughty or nice. Let's take a little sip of this. A defense question. So I do have Cleveland ranked a little higher than normal. That's for sure. I want to take a look at my defense rankings that I did last night. I know Philly is kind of last there for me. I do like their defense, obviously. Dak has thrown some picks, but I don't think I would play them over Cleveland. Like, listen, if that game is going to be sloppy, I would play Cleveland. And the one thing about playing these defenses, you want to play a defense against a team that's going to throw the football. You really do, because you want that pass rush. You want to be able to create some turnovers. You don't want to play a defense that's going to go up against a team that's going to run the ball 40 times. I mean, it's not really ideal for you. And that could be the case between the Browns and the Saints, but You could also, depending on your setting, if it's just a standard setting, you could still maybe get 6 to 8 points if it's like a 10-3 game and there's not a lot of scoring, points allowed. You can get some points there. Maybe you get a couple sacks. And because it is potentially sloppy, maybe you get a turnover or two from Andy Dalton. So I know the Browns defense has not been great this season. They've given some negative fantasy point showings, I do believe. They still have some players, right, that can get some pressure on the quarterback and create some turnovers. I lean them. And then I probably would go Tampa. Go Tampa there. Who does KC have again? Oh man, it's really tough. Like sometimes to remember all these matchups. I should know it off by hand. Seahawks. I'd go Cleveland, Chris, and then a close second to me would be Tampa. Really close second because of the quarterback play there. What else do we have? Another question or two? We can get through these. Superflex, I have Mahomes and Fields. Yes, I would just play Fields. Just play Fields. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I thought you were asking Mahomes versus Fields. My goodness. Mahomes. And then I would play Fields over Foles and over Wilson. Don't overthink this one. Could be sloppy weather, but what he's done on the ground, play the guys that got you there. Fields. What else do we have? Kirk Pacheco. Half point. Man, Kirk, Dallas. Or no, it's not Dallas anymore. It's the Jets. It's tomorrow. I probably lean Pacheco there, dude. I probably lean Pacheco in the running back carries. You're getting at least 10 plus touches out of Isaiah Pacheco. That's where I'm leaning right now. Check back tomorrow. We'll get some news on the weather. That's kind of where I'm at. Geno in the cold or Minshew indoors? Good question. Geno in the cold. I would go Geno in the cold. Against Kansas City, even though they don't lock it. Geno in the cold. Nick, good luck. Hope it works out for you, dude. Tyler, Zonovan, Richard, Dylan, Cook. Let's see. I would probably go. Our projections say Zonovan, but I'd probably go Dylan, man. I'd probably go Dylan against Miami. Again, another one that we want to check back tomorrow. Zonovan's fine. He's going to play. He's on the injury report. It's a decent spot against Jacksonville. They're going to run the rock. Saw a little bit of Michael Carter late in that game. I want to say that it was because Bam had the injury that Carter was in there in some red zone packages. It's between Zonovan and Dylan for me. And let's check back tomorrow. Slight lean to Zonovan, but I really like what I've seen from Dylan lately. Full PPR, and this is the last one. Then we'll break and we'll wrap it through the rest of them. We only have a couple minutes. I want to give some hockey picks for some peeps. Full PPR: London, Pickens, Moore, Herbert. Khalil. I don't want to play Khalil. Chuba. I'm not doing it. Need a wide receiver 3 and a flex pick 2. I'd probably go with London and Moore. I think Cooks and Collins are shut down. I think they're done. That's it. We've seen the rest. That's it. We've seen everything we've seen from them this year. Chris Moore, volume's been there. Not a great game last week. 6 points. Maybe that's the floor from him. Volume has been there, and it's hard to ignore. The volume hasn't been there from Pickens. I know Pickett's expected back here. It's against the Raiders. I think that Pickens has a higher ceiling than Moore, and it depends on how you want to play this. But I'm playing Drake London. He got basically all of the targets last week. I know against the Ravens, but Ritter threw to him. Double-digit targets is really hard to ignore, even in a tough spot in Baltimore. I'm definitely going London. I have more ranked ahead of Pickens, and it is just all about what you can stomach. What the risk that you want to take. All right, that's the last one. Then we'll do break. Let's check that one back up. Quick time. What was it? Flex, standard league, Dylan, Godwin, Burks, Freeman, London, or Osborne. Ooh, baby. Let's see. Oh man, something about Dylan, right? In that standard format, but he is going to compete with backs, and Miami could push the pace. We can get AJ, the other AJ and Jones catch up passes. I probably lean London. I would like Burks a lot better if it was Tannehill under center. KJ Osborne, that could have just been a one-time thing there, and it was a really good game. They were playing from behind. It was a massive play from behind game, and he was really good. I don't want to go chasing that. I think I lean with London here in the volume and the opportunity that he had, and then Dylan a close second, and then Godwin after that one. We got to break. We have to break, and we'll be back. We'll try to get through all of this. If I don't get through it, I will definitely get to it in the comments section. If you can leave it there as well, but I'm going to try my best. Let's break and get back into it. We'll be back in a couple.
I can't say enough about what we've got going on over at ftnbets.com.
At FTN Bets, your bankroll can be profitable. With the FTN Bet Tracker, you can tell your favorite experts across all sports, including the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball.
Welcome back to Mean Streets here on Game Plus Network. I'm your host, Chris Meaney.
And with our premium content, you can take your bets to the next level. Only $49.99 a month. Use the tools the pros use at FTN. Our betting models run over 100,000 simulations of every game, with sides and totals in the NFL, the NBA, and more. Use the home run predictor to see who'll hit a bomb deep. Our NFL player projections will make you a DFS king. And the FTN Prop Shop always finds the best odds for your player props. All tools, projections, and models are powered by FTN data.
All right, let's get back into it. Just a couple minutes here. We'll rapid fire through some of these questions. And again, if I don't get to them, I will certainly get to them in the YouTube section. Please, if you can leave them, if you're hanging out and I don't get to them, I apologize, but I will answer them, like I said, in the YouTube section. And we'll have a much clearer picture tomorrow too with some of this weather stuff. Jackson, Indy, Goodwin, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Flex PPR. I think I lean Jackson there. I'm not playing Donovan Peoples-Jones because I am really concerned about the weather. I know he's been our guy here on this show, Tasso, but I'm not going to go that route. I would go with Jackson and Indy and hope it is a bit of a split backfield, a couple targets out of the backfield there. I think Goodwin over Donovan Peoples-Jones if that's what you were kind of going for there. All right, next one. Next question. Pacheco or one of the Detroit backs leaning Swift right now. Interesting. You have Rashad White. I don't know if I'm going to go Rashad White. You could do Swift. I know I talk myself personally. I kind of have the slight lean to Jamal because of the goal line stuff, but I think we can all agree Swift has a really high ceiling. If he can catch a couple passes out of the backfield, I think that could go a long way. And then you have McKinnon kind of sprinkled in there. But we do have the Chiefs, right, as favorites here. Yeah, I think do Swift if that's the way you're feeling. It's all really close in our projections, as you saw. Next one there. Rashad White or Deion Jackson or Tyler Algier. Man, Algier looked really good. Man, Algier was on my bench for like 24 points. That really, really bothered me. Really did bother me. The Falcons have Baltimore, Jackson again, and Rashad White. I would probably lean with Algier here, and knowing that this is going to be a run-heavy team in Atlanta, it's already a run-heavy team. I would lean with. I know it's crazy. I would lean with Tyler Algier. That's where I'm at. Honestly, if you're in a PPR, if it is a PPR, then I would play the other guys. White over Jackson and then Algier, just because of those guys are going to catch some passes. Dotson or London for week 16. London, I'm going to go based on the pure volume. A little bit of a better spot. Dotson against San Fran, and then London would go with volume there for sure. Thank you for the FTN network donation there. Schultz or Fant, I would go Schultz. I do still believe the Eagles struggle against tight ends. Zach Moss, McKinnon, Kamara, or Latavius Murray. Kamara and McKinnon. Kamara, McKinnon. Yeah, absolutely. Latavius close second. Waller and Njoku. Evans would go with Waller, worried about the weather. Njoku, and then potential weather with Ingram as well. So I'd go Waller there. And I think one more quick time. Can we do it? I got to get some NHL picks in the next block. Pacheco, Foreman, Dillon, Moss, Herbert. Ooh, Herbert. No. Guys, don't start Khalil Herbert. There's so much risk in starting Khalil Herbert. Are you kidding me? Don't play him. No shots at you, Pex Tack. Just a lot of Herbert questions. Would go with you need 2. I would go with Moss, and I would go with Pacheco. Moss and Pacheco. I'm not starting Foreman. I like Dylan, but I think we're going to see a little bit more from Moss in a better spot, more touches from Zachary. I'm sorry, guys, if I didn't get to all that. Again, quick break, NHL picks. We'll be back in a couple. Right now, I'm leaning DJ Moore over Garrett Wilson, but check back tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day weather-wise. Cletus, we'll check back tomorrow. A lot of action in the NHL. Again, ftnbets.com/free. Hop on over. You can see all of my picks. A great day yesterday, 9 for 10 in the free betting article. We have I had a lot of units in the NHL. A ton of action. Got a couple props. Let's start here with Riley Smith of the Vegas Golden Knights. He enters on a 3-game goal streak. He's got 5 goals over that span. Actually, 4-point streak overall and 3 multi-point showings over those 4 games. 12 shots in his last 2, 5 and 7. He played 22-28 in his last game. It was a season high for him. The Golden Knights are missing some forwards. They're missing some guys in the back end. Arizona, not a great team. Not a great team inside the top 5 in shot attempts allowed and shots allowed at 5 and 5 per 60. Consider maybe Riley Smith at plus 182 for an assist, maybe minus 152 for a point. He's plus 162 for a goal, but he's plus 110, as you see at Bet Rivers, to have 3 shots tonight. I also like Carter Verhaeghe. He's had 3+ shots in 7 of his last 9 games here tonight against the Devils. Evan Rodriguez, a great spot against the Habs. 3 games since returning to the lineup. He's got 11 shots in those 3 games, and he played 23 minutes the other night as Colorado also depleted up front. I like the Avs and the puck line, minus 1.5. against the Habs, and I like the Minnesota Wild against the Ducks on the puck line as well. I think we could see a big game from Matt Zuccarello and Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. Sam Steele in there as well. Fun same game parlay, 2 points for maybe those 2 studs, and then Sam Steele maybe to hit the score sheet as well. We have to get out of here. My apologies. Have a great Tuesday. Good luck on the ice. Leave those questions in the comment section. Any questions you have, hop over and I'll address them on our YouTube page. Talk to you soon. Cheers.